Tonight our talk is about the museum as publisher, and as you know, increasingly artists and museums take over the role of publishers of their own production of their contents by using traditional forms of publishing as books and exhibition catalogs, but also the digital, the social media, the internet play an increasing role in all of this. We try to explore tonight what these new models of publishing are, of traditional models of publishing are, and I would hope to get to a controversial and fruitful discussion.
A book as a garden on your hand, that it gains this very interesting physicality, but meantime, also it's beyond its own physical form. There are physical contexts, time delay, and investigation of orientation within the reading experience. I think the book, the interesting book, always lift us up to the somewhere that you probably will forget that where you are, and because you are in between the parallel realities.
We have a very clear agenda. We are set up to make money. Instead, we're thinking about cash flow. Have we got enough money to invest in this before the return comes in? So it's really not thinking about budgets at all. And I think that's the major difference between a gallery, which has a certain amount of money to spend, and a company which has a target of revenue to raise. All of the money that we make is gift aided back to the gallery every year, and we're very proud of the fact that we make an immense amount of profit to keep the galleries free to put on the shows that they do.
We get just people sending us their self-published books. We get about 300 a month, new titles submitted, and we have a little team of people that goes through them in a lot of detail, and we add about 100 new titles every month, sometimes as many as 150. So if we were to open the door to submissions for publishing projects, we just couldn't physically handle the deluge that would follow. It would be impossible. So instead we commission books. A very interesting Efflux project, which maybe some of you know about, their journal, which they have agreements with a number of bookstores and other organizations whereby they make us, well, for example, for printed matter, there's a special PDF format for their journal which has an ad for printed matter, I think, on the back cover. And then we can print that out and however we want, and bind it however we want, and sell it in the store and keep the money for printed matter.
And I just question the value of, 2 sales when we could be stocking something else really interesting that would sell to 100 people.
Printed matter has a way of finding artists early in their career who then go on to much bigger careers. So we might publish a book by somebody that is relatively unknown, and the book, sells okay, but not that well. But as their career develops, the sales of the book go with it. So we don't trust in immediate sales at all. I mean, I've always found, I've been publishing books, other people's books since the mid-70s, and I've always found that if it's a good choice, if it's a good book, then it eventually finds its market, and that might take a while. For example, the book Museums by Artists that I showed here, covered by Daniel Buren, we published 1,000 copies in 1983, and I think we sold 10 copies in 1983. And the following year we sold 30. And then each year the number sold went up until it sold out. And then when it sold out, we thought, my God, why did we print so few?
Publishing our learning activity online is it just should be a natural consequence of what we do. But there's still the need for an object. And so we are continuing to talk about that. And I would be really interested to hear if people think that publishing online or publishing digitally has a value, or whether you're always looking for that kind of thing.
And also, for example, the catalogue raisonné. I think the catalogue raisonné would be much better served as an online publication. And it's one of the most expensive publications to produce, as I'm sure you know. My work, well, we all have websites and secret web projects and Tumblr blogs and porn sites and a little bit of everything. I think it's difficult to be an artist today and not have your finger in the digital stew somewhere.
For me, the digital or maybe the virtual space somehow already is quite real today, and it's parallel. It's really about your daily experiences. The space in Beijing, I think, we very much rely on the online community because the city is so vast, and then the transportation jam is so heavy that it's unhuman that every time that you gather people physically. So therefore, the online space not only, I think it's practically, it becomes very much necessary to be part of your space. So there is lots of interesting discussion about the reading habit, and then the way of writing for the online space.
And it's all a kind of form of publishing. I mean, I think that's one of the things that's interesting, is that just the idea of publishing is now, is just part of being alive. As an artist is publishing, it's kind of hard to avoid.